Hello, everyone. My name is Devin Alden, your friendly neighborhood student pharmacist, and I am reporting live from the Drug Information Center. And on the behalf of the Drug Information Center, we just want to say thank you and welcome. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. And today we have a very special guest. Some would call him Campbell Royalty. Some would call him an icon. Some would call him the living legend. But without further ado, everyone, I would like to introduce to you Dr. Cornelius Toliver.
Thank you, Devin. Thank you. Can you do all that one more time for me?
Oh.
That was amazing. That was amazing. Thank you for having me.
Oh, no problem, no problem. Truly a blessing and an honor to have you here. As I mentioned before, I guess backstage you can say that everyone I've spoken to speaks like very highly of you. Like I can't go a single place without hearing your name in a great way. Like everybody says great things about you. So that's why I say it's truly an honor and a blessing to have you. So without further ado, let's get to it. All right. So who is Dr. Cornelius Toliver? The father, the pharmacist, the employee, the employer. Talk to him.
I would say Cornelius Toliver is a father first, most definitely. That is the drive and the passion behind everything that I do with pharmacy. So without that piece, I wouldn't have the drive and the focus that I have for the field of pharmacy. So definitely a father first, a very competitive father that I take into the arena of pharmacy as well. Played a lot of sports growing up. Found out real quick that I probably won't make the NBA, and so I might want to find something else I can do. And so I ended up finding pharmacy and been in love with the field since. And I've been able to channel that same energy, that same focus I had with sports. I played a little college basketball for a short period of time. Was able to take that energy, ball it up, and just take it to the field of pharmacy. And here I am now. I graduated 2012, and I'm out, trying to, fight the good fight, I guess you can say.
Yeah.
I was with Walgreens for over 16, 17 years. I worked there while I was in school, and I decided real early that retail was where I wanted to go. I know that's very surprising to hear, but I have a very strong passion for retail because I feel like that is the primary foundation for pharmacy. And so I've been very blessed and very fortunate to have very good jobs coming out of pharmacy school. And I've been very blessed and fortunate to be able to use my innovation spirit along the way to help innovate some pharmacies along the way as well. So yeah, I would say that is who Cornelius is. Father first and a passionate pharmacist second.
Let's unpack a bit. So for one, why pharmacy? Because you could have gone medical, could have gone dentistry, could have been, I don't know, could have gotten into many other like healthcare professions. Why specifically pharmacy?
Easy question right there. I watch my grandparents. I watch my family with plenty of medications just sitting on their countertops and not knowing exactly what they're for, how to take them. I've seen medication errors with family members as well. And that was enough for me to see. Seeing that and just seeing the lack of education and the lack of focus that patients are presented with when it comes to these chronic disease states, that is the primary adrenaline, I guess you can say, behind why I decided to go into pharmacy. I felt like I could make a difference, not just with the medication piece, but more so with the education piece. Prime example, you have one opportunity with a patient that just got diagnosed with diabetes, right?
Right.
They just got diagnosed. They're already overwhelmed. They already have anxiety. If you cannot educate this patient immediately on that first day, you could lose this patient.
You get bad
right?
quick. Yeah.
It can get out of control real quick. So just seeing those things with family members and loved ones, that was enough for me to know that pharmacy was definitely where I wanted to go.
Gotcha. And you mentioned this spirit of just trying to change things and make things better and just constant improvement. Where did that come from? Like, was that something that was taught? Was that something that's just innately in you, inherited? Where did that come from?
I would say probably my parents.
Hmm.
I watched my dad, do things and, work very hard, 60 hours a week. Watch my mom do the same thing. And
Blue
I
collar?
watched them rise to the ranks in their positions, right? And just continuing to try to provide for me and being able to see that was a great foundation, a great blueprint for everything that I needed to do, whether it was sports or academics. Um, Never settling.
Ooh,
That was what I was able to see and was blessed to see. So everything starts there with my parents, them setting a good blueprint for me,
definitely.
and that's the same thing I'm trying to do for my kids now. So
Definitely, definitely. And I mean, you can say the I'm always interested in people's story
mhm,
because to me the story shapes the type of person many times you're going to be.
mhm,
Because right now at this stage, sometimes people just don't have the finances, and I believe that the finances just magnify who you're going to be,
yeah,
and that definitely shapes the people who you attract as well.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
on your way to success, might I ask you, did you have any mentors along the way, or was it primarily just your parents, or did you meet people in academia or while you were working at Walgreens?
Yeah, lots of great mentors, lots of people that help keep me in line, I guess you can say, starting with my parents, of course. Um, Coming here and having Dr. Moore set me aside and say, "Look, if you don't get yourself together,
Mm,
you're gonna lose a good opportunity." Having those people in your corner that kinda took care of you when your parents can't watch over you, right?
right.
Um, they inherited me here when I first got here, and Dr. Maddox as well when he was here. Um, Having them in your corner, having them believe in you, goes a long way. So I would definitely say I had a lot of mentors, even at Walgreens. I was very fortunate to work with a very inno- innovating pharmacist there, and me and him are still very close to this day. We set dreams when I was in pharmacy school of things that we wanted to do. Unfortunately, with Walgreens, you couldn't always do those things because everything has to be the same in every
Mm,
situation or every pharmacy for them, right?
right.
Um, but we always told ourselves, that would not limit us. And when we get the opportunity, we're going to be able to get in a situation to where we'll be able to innovate. So I've had lots of great people in my corner, not just the field of pharmacy,
Yeah.
um, church as well. That's a great foundation to have when you don't believe in yourself. You always have God, right?
Yes, sir.
Um, and so, I've been very, very, very blessed to have a lot of great people in my corner fighting for me, for sure.
And I think there's one something that I find very funny is sometimes we try to look for everything in that one mentor.
Hmm.
And sometimes that one mentor is just meant for this one thing, and that's okay.
Right.
And many times, I mean, I felt this way before as well, like just being frustrated. Why don't they know this? Why don't they know that?
Hmm.
And just trying to just understand this person sometimes is just meant just to be there just for this one thing, and that's okay.
Absolutely. It's like you have heroes, right? You have
Talk to
heroes,
me.
and you basically you take these people and you put them, in your brain. You watch what they do, you study what they do, you read your books, watch their movies, you try to do the same moves they do on the basketball court if you're playing ball, right? But I think learning to take a little piece of each one of those people
Mm,
and staying true to yourself, that is the key. Sometimes we get so consumed by one individual or one thing or
yes,
one
sir.
subject that we can't think outside the box. Um, and that's one of the things that I learned over time, right? Learn from people, put yourself in situations to where you're continuously learning and be around people that can probably teach you something, right? That's
Definitely.
going to be the key to your success. Um, and so that's some of the things that I like to, teach students when I have them on rotations or, talk to my kids about. They don't really listen right
Mhm.
now at the age of 6 and 7, but we still have the conversation, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so I think that's a piece of the puzzle that's often missed. If you have these heroes and you have these
Mm.
mentors, don't just follow what they say, but take pieces from them, learn from them, and cherish it, and put that into your professional career or whatever you desire to do.
Definitely. And that's funny that you use the word heroes because not all heroes wear the capes, as we know.
Nope.
And I noticed like one thing about heroes is, or I'll use this example, that growing up, my favorite show was the X-Men,
Oh yeah.
right? And I feel as though that's what pharmacy, and maybe not even just pharmacy, just academia in general.
Hmm.
Like everybody has a superpower
Yep.
and it just needs to be like maturated. You just gotta cultivate whatever
Hmm.
your thing is,
Hmm.
and just hope it becomes whatever, not what you want it to be, but what the man upstairs
Absolutely.
wants it to be. So
That's right. That's right.
definitely, definitely. So I guess we can move on to the next
Okay.
question. Definitely. Um so Dr. Tolliver, what characteristics made someone effective in like your roles as a mentor, effective in your role as a pharmacist?
Yeah. I'm definitely not your typical pharmacist. I can tell you that. I am me 100% of the time. Patience is my thing. I
Mm,
love patience. I love patient specific situations. Example being every diabetes patient is not the same. You have your guidelines, but you adapt medications, you adapt lifestyle according to that patient specific needs, right? Um, and so I'm the typical pharmacist that definitely is very patient centered, a
mm,
communicator. Communication is the key. Without any communication, there's nothing, right?
mm.
That's pharmacists, medical providers, nutritionists. Everybody needs to be on the same page, and I think that is what the healthcare system lacks right now is that ability to have everybody sync together for the better of the patient. Um, Innovation. I'm a big innovator.
Mm.
Don't be afraid to fail. Like, get out and try something new. Change with the times. Continue to learn. Told my students yesterday, the most learning you will ever do is when you get out, right?
Ooh, break
When you
that
get out
down.
of pharmacy school, there's always something new that's coming out. New drugs, new guidelines, 2022 guidelines, 2023 guidelines. It's always something, right? And you got to keep up with this stuff.
Right.
When you first get out, you'll go ahead and sign up for every email, um, automatic email for to try to stay up to date,
Newsletters.
right?
Yeah,
And next thing
yeah.
you know, you got like 400 things sitting in your inbox. So it's like pick a couple of things, pick a couple of your true resources,
Right.
and utilize those things to kind of stay up to date. So, um, patient centered, innovator, communicator,
Mm.
and just dedicated to the craft, right? I want to be involved in every facet of pharmacy, whether it's legislative, um, whether it's the patient centered, whether it's fighting for us to get provider status,
Yeah,
whatever it may be. I want to own it, right?
definitely.
Like I look at it almost like I'm an NBA player. I'm willing to put in
Talk
as
to
much
me.
work as I have to make sure that we have a successful field, and especially for minorities as well,
Hmm.
paving the way to help educate and help them understand you can be a pharmacist. It can happen,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah.
helping them learn early. I actually have a cousin who is a P1 here this year. I've
Mm.
never been so proud to be able to see that, right?
Yeah.
And so that's just really cool to see. And just, innovation, um, communication, patient centered,
Hmm.
and just willing to take a chance and get out there and try, right? And you're gonna fail
Yeah,
sometimes, but the most important thing is that you learn from your failures and you just move forward.
yeah.
And people are just afraid to take chances, unfortunately.
Mm.
And those are the people you will just move past, right? Because you're willing to take those chances, right? I'm
Definitely.
sure people for you probably said, "Why are you doing this?
All the
What are you
time.
doing? This is not
Yeah,
pharmacy." No, it is. You're
yeah.
changing with the times. This is a very important part because this is what a form of communication. And if you can't do it, then you'll get
Dr.
left
Toliver,
behind,
I need you to
unfortunately.
speak again in my class. I need you to speak another time. And speaking of that, speaking of you speaking, so during PPD, I believe it was last semester, either last semester or last block. I remember you spoke about your non-traditional way of your residency. Of that, I believe you said you made your own residency.
Yeah, the Cornelius Toliver,
There you
Cornelius
go.
Toliver
There you go. The
residency.
scholarship.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, full ride for Cornelius.
Full.
Toliver. Yeah, yeah. Put myself in it.
Yeah, you mind breaking that down a bit, exactly
Yeah.
what that looks like, or what that looked like for those who are thinking about doing residency, or possibly those who are a little uncertain. I
Mhm.
can only speak for myself. I'm a little shaky on it if I want to
Right.
do it or not. And let's just talk about your non-traditional way.
So my non-traditional way, an orthodox way. Um, First, I don't have anything against residencies. If residency is your thing, please do it. I
Right.
knew my first year, I
Mhm.
need to get out. I need to make some money, and Walgreens is where I'm going. I was
Right.
planning on owning Walgreens. Like I was
Mm.
that focused on Walgreens at the time until
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
stopped me from innovating. But I knew I wanted to do that, right? Um, but then I decided, hey, you get into the retail world. If you don't use your skills, you will lose them. This is that continuous learning part that I'm talking about.
Mm.
Um, I would pretty much set myself up 4 o'clock in the morning. This is no lie. 4 o'clock in the morning, Monday through Friday, and I would go and study for 2 hours before I go to my shift at Walgreens. And I was managing the store at Walgreens, one of the busiest in Fuquay at the time. I did this for about 2 years straight. first thing I did is I set my site on the diabetes educator license, right? You
Right.
set your site there. I knew that was the field that I wanted to really focus in on and
Right.
own. And so I set my sights on that. And next thing you know, had the license, right? So then you get into the primary care world and you have to prove yourself. So this is the part where, when you're a resident, you're already in the facility with the providers, you're proving yourself in. I had
Right.
to fight my way to the primary care setting. And then once you're in, you have to get in and you have to prove to the providers that you actually know what you're talking about. And so when you start to have patients, you take them from, 15 A1C down to an 8, then the providers start to
Ooh.
believe in you. They start to say, okay, this guy does know what he's talking about.
Mm.
And so through that, I was able to get collaborative practice agreements, which we still have in place
Right.
now with primary care physicians, right? And that all came through just proving yourself. And I love to prove myself. I love to be doubted. I love to take that as an adrenaline rush and,
Yeah.
and really try to prove someone wrong, right? That becomes the thing. And so being able to do that was great for me as a skill set, I guess you can say, getting that practitioner's license and being able to, um, you know, uh, work with regimens with patients and make them make sense and help the providers make better decisions for the patient's medication. That was really awesome to see. But the most beautiful part of it is that gap in care that we're talking about, where the pharmacist and the providers, they're not on the same page. When they work together in a collaborative practice model,
Right.
now they're on the same page. And guess who wins? The patient, right?
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here's a prime example. You have a patient. I had this yesterday. Patient A1C 7. Provider sees that. What do the provider say?
Good
You're
job.
doing good.
Yeah.
You're doing good. No. What type of 7 are you? Are you a 7 because at some point in time in the day your blood sugar is 500
Right.
and then the other part of the day is 80? You know,
Yeah.
some people can still have an A1C of a 7, but have all these highs and lows. It's not a good 7. Or are you a 7 because you're taking 100 units of insulin and now you've gained weight, right? And now
Ooh.
your heart has to work harder
Yeah.
because you gained weight. And now your lisinopril is increased double. And now your statin is increased double. But still, you're at a 7.
7.
And
They don't see the
provider-
whole story.
Right. And so in that type of model, the collaborative practice model, now
Right.
you have the pharmacist able to spend the 45 minutes with the patient, right? The providers just don't have enough time. They're overwhelmed. But in that kind of a setting, when you have the pharmacist and the provider working together, it's really a beautiful thing to see. And the patient wins. That's the most important part. So being able to prove that, I think, is one of the most important things I was able to do.
Right.
And that was what I call my own residency. Fighting through retail,
Yeah.
fighting into primary care, and just getting it. Just getting it, right?
Yeah.
Setting yourself up. You're going to fail sometimes. Some providers are not going to believe in you, but you can prove them wrong. And I was able to, fortunately, do that. And so, yeah, that's what I call the Cornelius Toliver residency. We are taking applications next year, so let me know if
Not
you
an
want to get
application.
involved.
Funny you say that. Funny. I mean, because whenever you mention that in class, I'm not sure if everybody caught that, but it
Mhm.
was like, Lord, are you trying to tell me something? I don't know. It was because it's different.
Right.
And different is scary.
Very scary.
Different can also be helpful.
Mhm.
And I think that you just can't accept different for when it's good.
Mhm.
But whenever you also have to accept different whenever it's not as comfortable either.
Exactly.
And that's tough. And I think, especially with academia, it feels like you're using two different parts of your brain or two different personalities sometimes.
Correct.
Because
Yep.
academia, you know exactly what you're going to do
Mhm.
every single day. Monday through Friday, you're going to be at 8 o'clock. You're going to
Mhm.
get out at 4. You may have a quiz. You may not.
Right.
We'll let you know.
Yep.
But whenever you're going into this route, it's just...
Yeah.
So I'm sure have there been days whenever it feels like you're going in and no matter how much work you put in, it feels like you're not advancing?
Oh, it's every day.
Even now?
That's still every day, even now.
So when do you know whenever you're progressing or
I
moving a
feel,
ticket?
I know when I'm progressing based on the amount of patients and the amount now of students I'm impacting.
Mm.
My students, the precepting, that's become a new passion that I've been able to discover. You'll learn along the way. Diabetes was the thing early for me, right? That got me going.
Right.
But guess what? I can't do it all by myself. So I need other students with the same passion. And I found some. And I'm going to develop them and
Right.
help them develop and mentor them, do whatever they need to kind of get there so that we can have more of the education spread out. And so I've been able to find a new passion just with the development of students, talking to students, getting to know them, getting to know their backgrounds, innovating students like yourself, right? Doing things
Yeah.
that's outside of the box, right? So often we're just in a box. We feel like we
That's
just
what
got to
we're
stay in a
taught.
box. You can't step out the box. If you step out the box, you're gonna get in trouble. No, that's not the way it
It's
is.
lava.
Right, right. You step out the box, you might make magic happen, right?
Oh,
So learn
yeah.
to do
Yeah.
that. Learn to put yourself in uncomfortable situations. Be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's okay, right? I
Mm.
was very uncomfortable when I first came to pharmacy school. I really thought I had it all figured out. I thought I could work full time at Walgreens, still be a P1 student, and learn real quick. That's not the way this world works,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But put yourself in uncomfortable situations. Continuing developing that passion. Don't
Mhm.
settle. Don't reach one goal and let that okay, I'm done. No, what's the next thing, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I still have that feeling of, okay, I got to be doing something else. What else can I be doing, right? How can I continue to develop myself? And luckily, I work for a company that supports that passion and supports innovation,
Right.
and it have allowed me to do some pretty cool things in my time with them so far.
Gotcha. Gotcha. And Dr. Tolliver, just being an entrepreneur, just how did you know that you wanted to go out and be an entrepreneur and do something different as compared to just advancing in, let's say, like Walgreens? Let's
hmm
say you would have stuck with Walgreens.
hmm
And how do you know you just didn't want to continue to advance in that as compared to, like, you know what? I'm going to do my own thing?
Well, I have two pieces to that, right? I work for a company, Adhere Rx. That's my company that I work for, and I
Gotcha.
am an entrepreneur as well. With the diabetes education, I can do that on the side. I can
Yeah.
also I do elderberry. I make elderberry, and so I make elderberry formulations that is 100% organic. And so I have two things that I'm able to do. Um, I would say first, finding a company that lets you have innovation and allows you to be yourself
Mm.
and bring new ideas and concepts, and they're willing to listen. That's usually the toughest part.
It's an anomaly, I
Yeah,
guess,
it's very
sometimes.
hard to find that,
Mm.
and I've been very fortunate and blessed to have a company that supports that. They don't support all my ideas, right?
It's a few of
Yeah,
them.
they don't
Few
support
of
all
them.
my ideas, but if I have a good game plan and they can see
Yeah.
the impact down the road, then they're very supportive of that. Um, I knew I wanted to do that when I was able to open up a pharmacy inside of a primary care. I knew I liked that model of the patient being able to see their provider and then get their medications right then and there, right? And
Right.
that's where that whole collaborative practice model came from. I knew that was successful. I knew delivery worked as well, right?
Yeah.
Delivering medications to patients, right?
Mhm.
Especially with the whole COVID thing, that was huge, right? But this was pre-COVID when I realized that that was a great space to be in as well. Um, I think those are, some of the things that have allowed me to really continue to just be in an innovative market, I guess you can say. Just being in different spaces that, I was allowed to actually innovate. And Walgreens didn't allow that when you were there, right?
Yeah.
You can't do but so much, right?
Right. Right.
Right. So they
So
need prescriptions out the door immediately.
so how has COVID impacted business?
um,
Whether if it's mentally or just workflow or just anything.
Here's the thing.
Talk to me.
COVID. So at Here RX, we're a closed door pharmacy.
Gotcha.
We deliver in 44 different states throughout the United States, right? We have close to 7,000 patients. We Most of our patients are 70% Medicare, 30% Medicaid. These patients have adherence issues, lots of diabetes. Oh man, lots of diabetes. They have different barriers, different things, right?
Right.
They're the challenged patient, the patient that helped me get to pharmacy school, the patient that needs that extra helping hand.
Mhm.
Those are the patients that we have. Amazing patients that just need education, right? And
Right.
just need help. Um, when COVID came, basically what it allowed me to do is say, you know what? We're going to open our doors, not just as a closed door. And guess what we're going to do? We're going to hook up with the Department of Human Health Services, right? And we're going to go into rural areas and actually go into patients' homes and give vaccinations. And we did that. We spent a lot of time in Lumberton. We spent a lot of time in Harnett County.
Oh,
We
yeah.
spent a lot of time in the mountains as well, going in patients' home who they couldn't get out, whether it was transportation issue or it's a medical condition. That is where your satisfaction comes from. Being able to do that, having a patient in tears look at you and say, "I've been trying to get a COVID vaccination for the last 4 months," and then you
Mhm.
give it to them, and they're in tears, literally in tears. That is what it's all about.
You
Being
Superman
able
to them at that point.
being able to do
Yeah.
that. So And that was our first year really doing vaccinations. Prior to that, we had never done vaccinations at Adhere Rx. So they allowed me to bring that innovation that, y'all know pharmacists are giving shots out here, right? Oh, what?
They didn't know that.
Well, I think they knew, but
Oh.
they weren't really going into that space. They didn't
Okay,
have
yeah.
anybody willing to, get out and take that chance.
Right,
From a business standpoint, great revenue for your pharmacy, obviously.
right.
Secondly, great advertising. So now you're opening your doors. You're going into patients' homes that meet already your patient base, right?
Yeah.
Chronic conditions. These are patients that need help. So we were able to do that. We did over 6,000 shots. We've done over 200 different monoclonal antibody treatments. And so all these programs are new, and the diabetes education had to come. And so
Yes,
we started
sir.
that. And so we've been able really to just innovate our pharmacy. Compliance packaging. We now have the option of blister and pouch packaging. Prior to that, we did not have it. So innovating the pharmacy is again, and making it fit your patient mold. This is your patient.
Yeah.
They take 15 medications. I called down here to the Drug Information Center and I said, I need someone to please get me some information on the effects of compliance packaging versus traditional vials.
Right.
Within probably an hour, a student sent it back, and I had it in front of my supervisors, and was like, "Here it is."
Right.
Oh, okay, let's do it. Next thing you know, now we have over 400 patients on compliance packaging within a year and a half. It's just really cool to be able to do that. But once again, the impact on patients, they love it, right?
Yeah.
And you're helping them.
They remember that stuff
Right.
too.
And you're growing the farms, and you get to make money. You can't beat it, right? So it's a win-win. I've always been a firm believer. You take care of the patient, the financial part will take care of itself.
Take care.
And that is something that I've always lived by, and I've seen success with that. So.
Gotcha. Dr. Toliver, I really do appreciate this time with you. I've learned a lot to take back to my classmates. We definitely need to do this again. It feels like we have a lot more to talk about.
Yes.
Once again, I appreciate you. It's truly an honor and a blessing to have you. Thank you again, Dr. Toliver.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.